Okay, so good afternoon, students. Okay, so today we will be discussing about the transfer function. Okay, so in your control system lab or practical class, the basically the first experiment will be regarding the transfer function. So I think that first of all, your concept regarding transfer function should be introduced and cleared before we perform the experiment. Okay. So till now we have discussed about the basics of control system and the open loop system and closed loop system. Okay, up to up to that we have discussed in the previous lecture, and also along with that we have discussed a few practical practical examples. Okay, and how to represent those operations of practical examples in the form of a mathematical modeling. Okay, that also we have seen. So now we will be proceeding towards the actual concept of control system, where the modeling of the control system is done in the form of a block diagram, and how to solve one control system problem. Okay, that means how to mathematically model a control system, that means electrical circuit or mechanical any system, how to represent it totally in the form of a control system using the block diagram, and then how to solve those problems using control system techniques, and to determine whether the system is stable or not. Okay, and slowly these things will be introduced in your uh, syllabus. Okay, so in your lectures in due course of time. So now I will be sharing my screen. Okay, so I hope it is visible. So this is lecture number 3, and I will be discussing about the transfer function and pole zero mapping. Okay, now transfer function. Now all of you tell me, have you studied Laplace transform in your mathematics? I think all of you have studied Laplace transform, and in mathematics as well as in circuit theory also. Okay, in transient analysis response you have studied, where how to represent a electrical circuit in the form of a Laplace equation, that also you have studied, I hope. And I know because those topics were included in your circuit theory syllabus. Okay, so the Laplace transform is basically whenever you want to convert any system which is in time domain into a complex domain. Okay, that is a S domain. So that is called the Laplace transform. So this is a basic. If I mention you the basics of the Laplace transform, that it is an equation where suppose there is a function f and you want to find the Laplace of that function, so it becomes f and the time domain is replaced by S domain. Okay, and is equals to integration of ft e to the power minus st dt. Okay, so this is the Laplace transform. Now basically what we are doing, we are converting or you are transferring the system from a time domain to a S domain, where we have a S plane, where we have on this horizontal axis we have the real number, which is the sigma, and on the imaginary axis we have the j omega. Okay, it is the imaginary, this is omega is the imaginary number. So this is called a complex plane or S plane. Okay, so here the transfer function helps us to convert or transform any particular system which is in physical system which is in time domain to a complex domain or S plane. So the definition of transfer function is The transfer function of a linear time invariant differential equation system is defined as the ratio of the Laplace transform of the output to the Laplace transform of the input under the assumption that all initial conditions are 0. Now first of all, do you know what is a linear system? What is the meaning of the word linear? Does anyone know what is a linear system? Or an example of a linear system? Hello, am I audible? किसी को नहीं पता है linear system किसको बोलते हैं? Hello, are you not audible, Nikhil?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So are you saying something? You are not audible. Okay, please repeat. Uh, what do you mean by linear system?
When two parameters of that system are related linearly, sir. Means,
Linearly.
sir, if we plot a graph between the two,
Graph between.
sir, if we change one parameter,
I think the audio is not clear.
hello.
Okay. So that means the parameters. That means the whenever we plot any input versus output graph, we generally tend to get a straight line, isn't it? So that what you're saying.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now time
Yes,
invariant.
sir. Yes, sir.
So
Hello,
what
sir.
is time invariant?
सब टाइम के साथ चेंज हो रहा हो
हाँ, टाइम के हिसाब से चेंज हो रहा है. ओके. And differential equation also
नहीं हो रहा सर उसको टाइम बोलेंगे
it is not changing. Time invariant is not changing. And differential equation तो पता ही है. So कोई भी system which is linear time invariant and differential equation, that system a transfer function can be formed, which is nothing but it is like efficiency, output by input. लेकिन उसका डायरेक्ट आउटपुट नहीं बोलते, हम लोग क्या करते हैं उसका लैप्लास ट्रांसफॉर्म वाला आउटपुट निकालते हैं. दैट मीन्स वी डिटरमाइन द लैप्लास ट्रांसफॉर्म ऑफ द आउटपुट whatever it is, if the output is say something energy. Okay, so energy is with respect to time. Okay, energy means work, so power into time, but we will not use those parameters or physical quantities which are with respect to time. We will consider those in the form of S domain. So first of all we have to convert into Laplace transform. So we have to transform the time domain to S domain. So it is the output of the Laplace transform. Okay, the ratio of the Laplace transform the output, that means the Laplace transform the output divided by Laplace transform the input. So not output by input, but Laplace transform of output and Laplace transform of input. That ratio is called the transfer function, provided under the condition that all the initial conditions are 0. That means before we perform the Laplace transform, before that all the initial conditions would be 0, because after Laplace transform we generally in mathematics we have seen that we get some values like plus f0 or minus f0 or f0 plus f0 minus. Some initial conditions do exist after performing the Laplace transform, but in the transfer function calculation we will consider those initial conditions of the Laplace transform to be 0. Okay, so this is an example. So generally every control system is represented by in this way, in a form of a block diagram. Okay, the form of a block diagram where RS is the input and CS is the output. Generally always in a control system there is a convention that we mention or represent the input as RS, input signal. You can see capital R bracket S because the input signal is converted into or transformed into S domain. Suppose the input is force. Okay, force is mass into acceleration. Acceleration means velocity with respect to time. Okay, or meter per second square. So second, there is a time, so that quantity we cannot take, we have to convert it into S domain. So that is why the input is always converted into S domain. Whatever the input is, it is physical input, electrical input, mechanical input, whatever. Every input has to be transformed into S domain, as well as the output also has to be transformed into S domain. And in between there is a block. Block means there is a system, and the system is represented as GS, and this system will also be in the S domain. So we have an input, we have a system, and we have an output. This is a very simple model of control system, and this GS is the transfer function. Why? Because the method of calculating GS is nothing but output by input, CS by RS. So this is the thumb rule, that whenever you have a block like this, every block in a control system will be represented by some parameter in S domain, number one. Number two, it will have some input signal and output signal, both in S domain. Second point. So first point is every block will have some parameter in S domain. Number two is every block will have some input signal, output signal in S domain. And if you divide the output signal with respect to input signal, which are already in S domain, you will get the value of the block. And that value of the block is called the transfer function, or transfer function of the particular system. So so this is a system, and the transfer function of the system is Laplace transform of output by the Laplace transform of input. As simple as that. Okay. Now obviously practical system is not as simple as this, because there will be multiple blocks and multiple signals. Okay. Now the transfer function given in this particular equation 3.1 is thus an expression in the S domain relating the output to the input of the linear time invariant system in terms of the system parameters, and is independent of the input. Okay. So it describes that the input-output behavior of the system does not give any information regarding the internal structure of the system. So you cannot understand from here that what is actually inside the system, whether it is a machine or a house or a car or an electronic device. What system is it? Or an industry or a factory or a human, whatever. It does not disclose any information regarding the internal structure of the system. It is always hidden inside. Okay. Because that is not required, because whenever we perform the control system study, we generally take this system and we convert it into S domain in the form of a block diagram, and then determine the transfer function of each block, and then we perform the study of stability. So our target will be to study whether the system is stable or not, and if not stable, then what measures can be taken to stabilize it. Okay. So thus when the transfer function of a physical system is obtained, it is basically represented by a block. So the block represents a system. The input signal flows through the block and emerges as the output signal after being processed by the transfer function of the block. So obviously the input signal is entering, so you can see over here the input is entering as RS, and it is being processed inside the block, and we get a output as CS. So the processing is done inside the particular block. Okay. So basically here the concept is that transfer function of the block is output by input, which is in S domain, and the output, that is CS, is nothing but input multiplied by the transfer function. So whenever you have a transfer function like this, the output, if it is not given, they have to calculate the output. So nothing but input multiplied by the transfer function, it is equals to the output. So this is what you get from this equation. Okay. Okay. So now functional operations of a system can be readily understood by examining the block diagram rather than the complicated equations describing its internal physical components. So just representing a complicated system in the form of a block diagram is sufficient for the control system to determine how does it operate and what are the properties. Therefore, when working with linear time invariant, it is often advantageous to think of a system along with the subsystems or interconnected blocks, with each block represented by its transfer function. Now, slowly we will be able to understand as we progress that control system, this subject, if you are able to learn it thoroughly, Okay, this entire thing, not only this control system, but control system entirely as a engineering, you will be as a specialization, then you will understand that it is quite easy to analyze any particular problem. Okay, whatever the problem is, whatever the actual system is, electrical system, mechanical system, or any system related to engineering or even not related to engineering, it can be solved and analyzed with the help of a control system by using just blocks and transfer functions. Okay. Now to illustrate this, let us find out the transfer function of a simple AC circuit of RLC, that means RLC circuit. All of you know, we know about the RLC circuit. Suppose this is an RLC circuit, series circuit, where there is a voltage source, which is a DC voltage source of VI, okay, VI as the input, okay, DC, and RLC are the three parameter: resistance, inductance, and capacitance. I is the current, and it is represented as instantaneous current, I bracket T, okay. Rather not instantaneous because it is direct current, so we will not call it instantaneous current, but we will call it as the current with respect to time, because suppose there is a switch over here. So obviously it is DC supply, so the supply is fixed, so it will not change its polarity, or neither will its instantaneous value will change. So its value is fixed since it is a direct current. But if the switch is on and off after regular intervals, so obviously the value of the current will change. Suppose for 1 minute the switch is on, or for 30 seconds switch is off, again on off is done at regular or at irregular intervals, so the value of the current will change. So that is why it is represented with respect to time. Okay, the resistance is fixed, inductance is fixed, capacitance is fixed. Now the voltage across the capacitor is considered to be the output, suppose. So our goal is that we will have a voltage source, okay, DC voltage supply, and we will determine what is the voltage across the capacitor, and we will study this in the form of a transfer function. So as we have just now discussed, the transfer function is nothing but the Laplace transform of output by the Laplace transform of input. So that means we have to convert or transform this particular circuit in Laplace transform in the that means we have to convert into S domain. Okay, so you have to perform the Laplace transform. So now if you see this particular circuit diagram, as we have discussed, that input is Vi and output is V0. Okay, now Vi, this equation, if you apply the KVL, Kirchhoff's voltage law, this voltage is equals to voltage across resistance plus voltage across inductance plus voltage across capacitance. Now all of you have already studied this, all of you are familiar with this equation since you have already studied this part in circuit theory. So VIT is equals to RIT, that is voltage across resistance, plus voltage across inductance will be L di dt, and voltage across capacitor will be 1 by C integration of I IT dt. Okay, so this is the equation number 2, which is written after solving the circuit using the KVL, Kirchhoff's voltage law. Now the output voltage V0, it is the output voltage. So output voltage is 1 by C integration of IT dt. This is because output is inside this KVL equation. So it is nothing but VIT equals to RI plus V0 plus L di dt, because this is the output. Okay. Why we are writing these two equations separately? Because since for transfer function we have to determine the output by input in S domain, that is a Laplace transform of output by Laplace transform of input. So you have to write two separate equations for input and output. Okay, I think it's clear now. Okay, so have you understood this equation? I think all of you know these equations. Okay, now the Laplace transform of the first equation, suppose forget about the rest of the part. If we discuss about the first equation, Laplace transform, so Laplace transform means just we have to in circuit diagram, in circuit in a equation, we don't have to go for integration. Okay, we'll just represent replace this Vi as capital Vi brackets S. Okay, so T will be replaced as S, capital S, and all the parameters which are written in means smaller okay, so smaller format, smaller font will be replaced by capital font, okay, in capital letter. So VIS equals to RIS plus now 1 by C, okay, 1 by C will be 1 by C. Now, integration is always represented by 1 by S, in Laplace, I think you know that. So C into 1 by S IS. So always the integration with respect to dt, that means integration of dt is 1 by S, okay, that means integration and derivative of any parameter is S into that parameter in S domain, okay. So the integration will be 1 by S, 1 by C S IS, okay, and this one will be L derivative will be LS IS, okay, LS IS. So this is the Laplace transform of the equation number 3.1. Now for 3.3, that is this one, this is nothing but it is already the middle term or the second term. So since we have already written this, so this is the middle term. So this is rewritten, once again written over here. So 3.3 means it is this equation itself, the middle one, okay. So V0S equals to 1 by CS IS. Now from here we will replace, okay, IS equals to CS V0S. Why? Because we will only take the first equation. Listen carefully, we will only take the first equation 3.4, because in our calculation in finding the transfer function is always Laplace transform of output by Laplace transform of input. So V0S and VIS. So we will only form an equation where there are V0S and VIS, and there should not be any other parameters which are in S domain. Yes, resistance, inductance, capacitors can be there, but because they are not in S domain. But I cannot be there, because if I is brought into picture, then you cannot solve it. So what we will do, we will replace I with V0. That is why we are writing over here IS equals to, in this equation, IS equals to V0S CS. Okay. Now you take this equation and put in equation number 3.4. If you put this in equation number 3.4, then this IS will be replaced with CS V0S. So our equation becomes VIS equals to, also here also, so in all the three parts we will replace IS with CS V0S. CS V0S over here in the middle term, middle one, and the third one also. So the equation becomes VIS R CS V0S plus 1 by CS, again CS V0S, plus LS CS V0S. Over here CS will get cancelled, and obviously V0S is common, okay. So we will rewrite this equation V0S bracket RCS plus LCS square plus 1. Thus the transfer function will be V0S by VIS. So V0S by VIS, that is 1 by entire thing LCS square plus RCS plus 1. Okay. Now we will not put this equation in this form, we will transform it like this. Why? We will write in this form where S square plus some constant into S plus constant. So we will always write in this form. That is why we have rewritten this equation in this particular form. So since we have to take a S square alone, so whatever is with S square, we will divide it with that particular variable. That means LCS square. So we will divide numerator and denominator with 1 by LC. So after dividing the numerator and denominator with 1 by LC, we are replacing this equation as 1 by LC numerator divided by S square plus R by LS plus 1 by LC. Okay, fine. Is it clear up to here? Is it okay? Who was answering the previously? Nikhil. Is it okay, Nikhil? Okay. Okay, so this is the transfer function. So now, if you are having a RLC circuit, okay, and if the values of R, L, C are given, okay, so you can determine the transfer function very easily. Okay, so this is the transfer function of a RLC circuit where input was the battery source and output was the voltage across the capacitor. Now, if suppose if the output was voltage across inductor or voltage across resistor, then also you could have determined in a similar way. The result will be different. In that case, V0t will be equals to, suppose, I into R. So it will be ITR or RIT, this one. Then you will proceed accordingly. Okay. Now moving on to the actual circuit diagram. Now previously this was an open loop system. Because this is an open loop system. This is to be mentioned. RLC circuit is open loop. Why? Because if you are increasing the voltage in the input, you will get accordingly the output voltage will also increase. And if you decrease the input, the output voltage will also decrease. That means you are not controlling it. Because in a control system, feedback is very important. Because if it is a closed loop system, then only you will be able to control it. Over here, it is not a closed loop system. Why? Because whatever the value of voltage is there in the output, the input is not bothered about it. So there is no feedback given to the input back, that it will monitor what output is there, and we will update the value accordingly, update the voltage accordingly, and we will get a current accordingly. Because it is, though no feedback is there, so it is an open loop system. Now if you take a basic block diagram of a closed loop system, so it looks like this. Over here, this part is equal to the open loop. So this is the open loop block. This one is open loop 1. Okay, so पहले क्या था, सिर्फ एक ओपन लूप ब्लॉक था, इसका इनपुट था, आउटपुट था. पर क्लोज लूप के लिए इसके साथ एक फीडबैक भी इंक्लूडेड है. देयर इज अ फीडबैक आल्सो. ओके, now there is another summation point. This is called a summation point, this one, summation point. So over here there are multiple signals. First of all, input signal is RS, reference input, that is fixed, it is not changing. Okay, then we have the system over here, and we have the output. Okay, we have the output, and from the output we take a feedback.
Sir, hello.
Bolo.
Sir, I was asking, is there any symbol for control element, sir? Like the summation signal is given. So, is there any symbol for control element?
Control element? No, control element, because you are talking about controller.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I am talking about controller, sir. Is there any symbol for it, sir?
No. Controller, basically it is represented by a block itself. Okay. It is represented by generally a block itself. Okay. So over here, what is being mentioned in this particular block diagram, it is told that this is a system, but generally if you can remember in the first two lectures or first lecture itself, or the second lecture I have shown you regarding the electric toaster. Okay, electric toaster, then an air conditioner, then a man driving a car. So in electric toaster it was a open loop system, because whatever timer you are setting in the toaster, you are getting the output. So but if the bread is old bread or a rotten bread or a different quality bread, then the output cannot change. But in an air conditioner the output will change, because the room temperature will always be monitored by the controller. So in that case it is represented by total block diagram. So inside this particular control elements and control system, there are control elements as well. Okay, there are control elements, because if I show you the previous one, previous lecture, see, in this particular case, this was the room temperature control system. Okay, you see, this is a controller. So controller means, wait 1 second. This controller. So what was there? The temperature was sensed, and it was the temperature which in Celsius or degree Celsius, it was converted into some voltage. So using a potentiometer. So voltage signal was sent. Okay, the control signal was voltage signal was sent in the controller. The controller used to operate accordingly, because there was a feedback. So feedback was sent from the thermometer that the room temperature is not equal. It is not yet reached the desired temperature. So signal was given to the controller, and controller used to take action, and accordingly the system would operate. So in the block diagram, controller is also a block, system is also a block, and this is the output room. Okay, so everything is represented in the form of a block. Okay, summation point is just there to compare the input and output. So summation point does the work of comparing the input and output. That means it you know, this summation block, generally when the feedback is given, then an error signal is generated. So the error signal is input minus the feedback signal. Okay, and accordingly, if the error signal is 0, that means the feedback is equal to the input. So summation point is just there for comparison or doing the calculation part. Okay, now coming back to the discussion, that this is the general closed loop system, block diagram for closed loop system. So input is RS. Okay, now forget about the summation block. First of all, the first step will be that the summation block will not have any error signal. So input will be given, step number 1, to the entire system, which is having the controller as well as the plant. Plant means the actual object or actual system where the operation is taking place, and controller is the block which makes the changes, and accordingly it gives the control system to the plant, and the plant operates according to the signal given by the controller. So if there is any malfunction, then controller will change its settings, and it will give signals to the plant, and plant will just operate. Okay, and you will get the output from the plant. So this is the entire system, forward path system. This is called the forward path system. Okay, and you will get the output is the CS, controlled output. Okay, still it is not controlled because we are going for step number 1, iteration 1. Then there is a feedback, and we will check whether the output which we are getting is actually the desired output or not. So the feedback, we need some measurement. Okay, if it is an electrical circuit, we will require voltmeter, ammeter. If it is a pressure sensor, it will measure pressure. If it is a temperature sensor, it is a thermometer, it will measure thermometer. So it is basically a measurement unit. It will measure, suppose it is measuring the temperature. Now temperature, if it is measuring in degree Celsius or Kelvin, but it will not give the feedback in degree Celsius or Kelvin. Why? Because it has to give feedback in the form of some electrical signal, electrical pulse. So it is converting the equivalent temperature into equivalent electrical signal or voltage.
Sir, millivolt or milliampere.
Okay, what? Yes, actually. So in voltage or current. Okay, millivolt or milliampere. Okay, good. So that is converted, and that signal is fed to this particular, you can say this summation point. Okay, so the feedback signal is sent. So if I name them, the output is CS, and the CS is it is entering it is treated as a feedback. And the feedback, there is a measurement unit which is called HS. So HS is you can say the feedback element. Okay, it is the HS. Feedback is HS. Okay, and what signal is entering feedback? HS. CS is entering in HS, and BS is coming out. BS is the feedback signal. Okay, so feedback signal is BS. Equivalent feedback signal, rather, it is a equivalent feedback signal. and Bs is entering the summation point, so it is minus, so Rs minus Bs will give you Es. Es is the error signal or actuating signal. So depending upon the error signal, it enters the controller and the controller operates, and then control output is obtained. The whole cycle will continue until and unless the error signal becomes 0. Okay. So this is the basic block diagram of a closed loop feedback control system. Closed loop system means it is a feedback control system. So input is Rs, output is Cs, feedback block is Hs, and feedback signal is Bs, and error signal is Es. Okay. Up to here it is clear, I think.
Yes, sir. Clear.
Okay. So in this feedback control system, the output is the controlled variable Cs. It is the control variable Cs. This output is measured by a feedback element Hs. So obviously it is a measurement unit Hs to produce the primary feedback signal. So as you have told, it will convert it into an equivalent signal, whether in millivolt or milliampere, and then which is compared with respect to the reference input Rs at the summation point. So Rs minus Bs will give you the error signal Es. Okay, so it is the error signal Es. Now accordingly the system will be operating and the output will be controlled for the next step using that error signal, and the whole system will continue as long as the error becomes 0. Okay. Now suppose in systems the H, that is the feedback, may be unity. That means the value of H may become maybe like this, say Hs is 1, suppose. So we call this as unity feedback. We call it a unity feedback system. Okay. So in that case what happens if Hs is 1, H is 1. So always remember that in the basics of transfer function, which we have just gone through over here, this one, that every block has some input and output. So this is the transfer function Gs. Now always remember, in a closed loop system also, here the input is Cs, okay, output is Bs. So Bs divided by Cs. Here Bs is the output of the feedback block, this feedback block. Bs is the output of the feedback block and Cs is the input of the feedback block. So output, Laplace transform of output by Laplace transform of input will give you the transfer function. So this is the Hs is the feedback transfer function. So every block has a transfer function. You can remember I have told you in the beginning of the class. Okay. So obviously here Gs, the transfer function will be Cs by Es is equals to Gs. Okay. So this is the basic concept, that every block has an input and output. So output in the S domain by input in S domain will give you the transfer function of that particular block. As simple as that. Now if the feedback is 1, that means if Hs is 1, then what happens? That means whatever signal is coming, it will get multiplied with 1 and it will send. So Cs will actually flow. There will be no Bs, actually Cs will be flowing inside. So Rs minus Cs will give you Es, because if H is 1, so Hs into Cs will be Bs, so Bs is equals to Cs, isn't it? Are you getting my point? If Bs by Cs is Hs and its Hs is 1, that means Bs by Cs is 1, so Bs equals to Cs. So Cs is flowing and Cs will be entering the summation point, because Bs and Cs both are equal. Okay, they both are equal. And it is, so Rs minus Bs will be 1. Okay. So Rs minus Cs is the, Rs minus Cs is the error signal. Okay. So these are the forward transfer functions, okay, in details. So I will be continuing those in the next class. Okay. So whatever we have discussed today, is it clear with you? If you have any question, then we can discuss now. Okay, so because these topics are quite new to you, so since we have time left, okay, not today means we have started our class and we will continue this lecture. Okay, so still we have semester exam is still at least 3 months away. So that's why I'm just going in a steady manner so that you can grasp everything and you must digest, because if I go in a flow, then it won't be helpful for you. So I hope it is clear up to whatever we have studied in this class. Okay. Okay, if you have any question, you can ask. Otherwise, then we can close this lecture over here. Okay. So thank you, students, for your patience and for joining in the class. Okay. Okay, so thank you, and we will catch up in the next class. Okay.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir.